So we have draft, develop, and deal. We're going to start with deal, but we're not going to talk about a guy whose name rhymes with deal, which is Beal, because we already hit on Bradley Beal a million times. So, Jeff Goodman, if they don't go after Bradley Beal, who's the next guy? Like, who are you going after? Who makes sense for this team? Who you might sign as a free agent and bring in?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to add a piece, right? And to me, you've got to add a veteran that, again, if you're going to get, the trade exception here, basically you got to get somebody that the other team doesn't really want that much. So a few names that I've come up with, I know Kevin Huerter was dropped by somebody, and I like that one. Obviously he's paid about $15 million for the next 4 years, 23 years old, can shoot the heck out of it. So I would love to get Kevin Huerter on this team. I don't know if Atlanta's going to be willing to give up Huerter at this point in his career. A couple older guys, Harrison Barnes in Sacramento, they probably want to go young, and he's got 1 year at about $18 million left in his deal. Not a great player, but a guy, again, who can shoot the ball 39%. He's a good complementary piece. He can be kind of a third scorer. He's been proven a third scorer. Then you want to go even older? Eric Gordon. Houston Rockets, 33 years old. The Rockets are certainly want to go younger here. He's got a year left at about $19.5 million on his deal, but again, can shoot the heck out of the ball. He's been hurt the better part of the last couple of years. That scares me. But I think, like Forsberg said earlier in the segment in the show, add a piece and use that money and see what you can add to the core that's already been pretty darn good the last 4 months.
Who's on your list?
So, I floated Huerter the other day because I think he has the right age, the right contract length. I start thinking the way Brad Stevens has operated, and I fall back to Derek White, where if you're going to give up assets to make a move like that, then at least get it someone who fits along with your core, can grow with them, who has multiple years left. Some of the names that Jeff tossed out there I like because the cost isn't going to be as prohibitive. A lot of those teams are probably willing to get off the money and not have take on draft assets, or not cost in abundance. So you do have to think about that. I do think that would be lower on Brad's list. I think you want to get as high a level of player as you can. And some of it just comes down to how much are you willing to spend. If ownership's giving them the okay to use all of that 17.1, then I think you sit there and start with the names in that category. And that's why I default back to guys like Huerter and OG Anunoby and Norm Powell. And again, are these guys available? That's why you make the calls. And you got to figure out what teams are trying to do. And teams that might be more of sellers, maybe there's a chance to approach them more. So I'll be interested. I think after draft night, we'll have a better idea of how everything's going to shake down.
Or maybe if you want to improve the team, you could make a big trade, because that's what Chris Gasper has. His one solution for who the Celtics have to deal. This offseason is the time for Stevens to think big and bold in pursuit of banner number 18. And that means being willing to part with the longest tenured Celtic, Marcus Smart. This is Hoops hearsay to Smartophiles.
Why is he looking at me when he wrote that?
Put the point guard on a pedestal and are ready to put his number in the rafters. Angry emails are reaching my inbox at Mach 2 speed at the mere suggestion of parting with this beloved Boston basketball binky. But Smart is the one movable piece that can bring back what the Celtics lack: better playmaking. Of course, we bring Phil Perry into this conversation with Chris Forsberg.
Is he contractually obligated to appear in all?
He is. It's actually, yes. I don't know Phil's agent, but I'm sure he worked that in. Chris Forsberg, I know that you wrote. I mean, I don't know. Was it like a response to Chris Gasper?
I felt bad. So look, Gasper's one of my best friends, and I feel bad going at him, but that column got my blood pressure up. I do not consider myself a Marcus Smartophile or whatever the great word he used. I'm actually somewhere in the middle, and that's unique with Marcus Smart because he seems so polarizing. You're either full love and trust, or you think he's the reason that they can't get over the hump and win the NBA Finals. But the thing that drives me nuts is the Celtics this year, when they finally tossed the keys to Marcus Smart, were rewarded with the top point guard play in the NBA. He ranked in the 99th percentile among all point guards with a plus 14.8 net rating when he was on the court. No one was really even close to him. They had the best starting five in the NBA for the entirety of the season, and by a landslide. They were the best offense in the NBA for the last 35 games. And yet they hit this speed bump at the end of the season, and everyone blames Marcus Smart, who was not great in the NBA Finals, but nor were the superstars of this team. And I'm left to wonder, what the hell are you people looking for out of the fourth best player on your team besides the defensive player of the year, someone who can run the offense and makes you better, who is a leader in that locker room and a trusted voice? And it baffles me that we continue to just default to, well, they got to trade Marcus Smart. They need to find someone better. Yeah, good luck. I'm telling you, go ahead and trade him. See how it works out for you.
Phil, I believe that question really wasn't for me or Jeff. I think that rant was really aimed at you. Respond.
I think Forsberg went 1 for 3 in terms of listing the attributes of Marcus Smart that helped this team out. He plays great defense. In terms of helping you run an offense and a half-court offense and making people better, I just don't see it quite as often as Forsberg does. I do value what we see in the postseason when the defensive intensity gets ratcheted up and you play against better competition. I know what their numbers were in the regular season. I know in the postseason, all series combined, the Celtics offensive rating was about 110, which if in the regular season they had put up those numbers, it would have made them about the 20th best offense in the league. Now, I know a lot of that is due to their stars not playing up to their potential, but guess what, Forsberg? You're not moving the stars. Marcus Smart is movable, and so if you can, find a deal that makes you so much better. That makes you so much better offensively that you're willing to take the defensive hit, and it would be a defensive hit to deal Marcus Smart. If you can make that work, I think it's worth exploring because your offense, and Brad Stevens admitted this yesterday, their offense is what lost them the NBA Finals. Can you go from being the best, far and away the best defense in the league, to maybe, I don't know, the 4th or 5th or 6th best defense in the league and still be a championship contender? I would say yes. And so the deal with Marcus Smart, it should be an open possibility. We should not be excising all speak of a Marcus Smart trade just because he does some great things for you on the defensive end, which he does.